Alright, welcome back everyone. We're going to be doing Forced Folly here on the 80% guide for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And this stage is very near and dear to me, because it is practically the reason why I started running this game. I actually practiced this stage quite a lot once I first got my hands on it, and I even had world record for a bit. I only recently lost it. I guess I inspired someone else to want to be the king of the Wonderland, the Winter Wonderland. This stage has some really awesome cranky tricks. And hopefully, by the end of this tutorial, you guys will also be able to do the Crankadadda's Wonderland. Nice. A little bit of a time save, but it's pretty risky, so be careful if you choose to do that. Thank you, Goldfish, for this very safe alternative way to do that trick. Ah, darn. Okay. That sucks. That sometimes happens. Just be very careful. It's not a big deal because here we are. Okay. So that is 6-5, and thanks to the efforts of all the Dong runners, it is transformed from it used to be a Dixie stage, but one night they saw in Time Attack that someone had they were basically talking like, is it possible to bounce off the flowers? I mean the snowflakes. And you know, at first it was like, no way. And then they tried, and they're like, oh my god, we have to do this. And then they went back and rerouted the stage. They're like, how can we possibly make this faster? Is Cranky faster? It was huge. It was a big deal. And like, I remember seeing what the Dixie version of this stage used to look like, and it was all right. You know, you still got the boosts from the pads, which is pretty cool. But now Cranky can do it, and like, Cranky makes it look so much cooler. It's ridiculous. I love it. So back in the summer of last year, I first saw Goldfish switch from Dixie to Cranky on this stage, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. I have to pick this game up. Like, it's just no longer a question for me. So when you're slapping off of that first pad right there, you can actually, again, it's a bounce pad, hold run, and then you do move slightly further than if you don't. I did not hold run, so that's where you'll just about land, and then like, if you do hold run, you collect the next banana. See, that's how much further you get. So when you're going in this stage, you want to make sure that you have Cranky at the beginning, so you can just roll through everything. If you do not have Cranky, for whatever reason, I mean, you can practice the beginning of the stage normally, but the problem is that Cranky is not on cycle, so you'll have to wait. And the problem with waiting right here for Cranky is that it screws up the snowflake order, because basically the snowflakes are moving pretty much as soon as you first see them on screen. And the trick that you do to get by these snowflakes quickly is you would roll through here, you would jump onto the end right there, and you want to make sure that you're doing a jump that is just barely hard enough to make it to the rightmost side of that without being too far to the right that you crash into the snowflake. So you may have to pull back a little bit, but you're basically bouncing off the right side of that snowflake to get over this thing. I have a small Time Attack trick, very risky, but I'll show it off later. It does not involve bouncing on that thing. Anyway, you land on here, slap, and then you have to hold on to these pads. Now this is the bread and butter of this stage. These pads give you a lot of speed. And what you're going to do is you're going to wait for it to lock into position, slap, and then you're going to do pogo, pogo, and then a roll jump. And then like the speed that this gives you, you can add to it with a roll. So it shifts, slap, pogo. Uh-oh. Yeah, you want to make sure I was not all the way to the right when I did that, unfortunately. Dying at the beginning of the stage is not too much of a problem. The checkpoint, however, is right immediately after that. If I were any further, that would really have sucked, because then you wouldn't be able to grab a buddy barrel again. So, going back over that, I guess I'll try, now that I have Cranky, I will try to show off the Time Attack trick that I do. That involves bouncing off the snowflake instead of the flower. Roll, hold and grab, slap, roll, pogo, roll, a little deep in there, and then right here. Oh darn, whoops, spaced out. Anyway, I meant to show off the trick. I'll show it off later for sure. Anyway, hold on to this, slap, pogo, pogo, roll, underneath, pogo, and that gets you right here. And you want to make sure that like you're rolling underneath the first snowflake and bouncing off the second one. I will later on also show off a trick that I developed that saves even more time, and you don't have to wait on these platforms at all, but it's very risky. So what you do here, wait for it to lock, slap, get on the right side, and then what you can do is as it's moving at the last second, you slap, and you'll be moving slightly fast because you'll still have some of the shifting speed there. You'll get underneath this thing. What you want to do is you want to make sure you're not holding anything at all. If you touch grab or jump too soon, Donkey Kong will have a spasm on the platform, and then you'll just fall to your death. It's really weird, but like the only way you can avoid that from happening is by not touching anything until you are completely underneath it. When you fall underneath it, then you can pull out your cane just in time to bounce off the snowflake, and that saves you from having to ride on this thing and slap one more time, which it saves you about a second if you can get on that lower snowflake. For this section here, you want to stay on the right side, and you want to wait until you're just above that last banana bunch, the one that's on screen right now. Wait until you pass over it, go once around, roll, jump, roll. Now let me explain something very dangerous about vines here. If you hold the grab button right now, and you just rely on that to grab the vine, you will automatically start to grab the vine as you get close to it. But the problem is you're at roll speed right now, and the moment Donkey Kong does this to grab for the vine, he slows down. So if you want to make sure you survive this, don't hold grab until you are close. There you go. Now for this section, you're rolling underneath the, it's going to be 1, 2 snowflakes and then the dick poker. You want to jump after the dick, well, before the dick poker. And then for this section, this is always consistently the same. And I will show a backup for it later in case you should fall and die. But it's basically roll, full pogo, light pogo, pogo, bounce, bounce. And then this is where you would do the next trick. But before I do that, I will show you the backup. So let me just fall off right here. So, should you die on the next trick for any reason, this is what you're going to end up with. You end up right here. Wait for this cranky barrel and try to throw it into the dick poker if you can. If you hit that snowflake, it sucks, but don't worry about it. This is what you're going to do. Pogo. And then everything is still in cycle for you to do the full pogo and the light pogo. And I should not have rolled jumped there. You want to make sure you're doing full pogo, light pogo, and then pogo up there. So, here we go again. This stage is pretty difficult. There we go, I hit him that time, makes it much easier. Full pogo, light pogo, full pogo, bounce, boing. Now on this one, wait until it locks into position, and then Michael Goldfish gave me the tip for this one because this is a boost that you can do to save 3 seconds, otherwise you would have to do a safety wait. And I don't like doing that safety wait, I never did. Basically, you're going to do, after you slap, you want to be on the leftmost side of this thing, slap, full pogo, and then you want to do a reactive bounce off of the hoots. It is a very light tap after the hoots, and it's very specific. So, pogo, full pogo, reactive tap. Ugh. It's a little tricky, even with like the setup that Goldfish gave me. It's still a little tricky. It's hard to do it like while pausing in between, but hopefully I'll be able to get it this time. So. The stage requires a lot of focus here. Full pogo, bounce. There we go. And you want to make sure that you're pulling your cane out just a little bit early. Pulling your cane out early sort of changes Donkey Kong's hitbox a little bit. It pulls him up a little higher, so you just barely make it over that ledge. You want to make sure that you're holding A enough until you get the bounce. Once you get the bounce, you want to be a little bit lighter after that. Make sure you let go a little soon. Not right away. You don't want to let go like immediately, because you'll just fall to your doom. You want to make sure that you bounce slightly hard. That way you'll have enough height to control and make it into the barrel. The alternative would be that off of that hoot, instead of doing like the reactive bounce afterwards with A, you would grab onto that platform, wait for it to swing back, and then back forward. And then you would just slap into the barrel. That'll cost you 3 seconds. I don't like doing that, especially because I've practiced this second boost enough to not have to worry about that. I very consistently make this second boost without having to stop there. So for this section, you're just blasting, and then, like I mentioned earlier, you can take a hit on this snowflake. It is about half a second faster, but it is also risky. If you're on 1 heart, don't do it, especially because you want to make sure you don't have just 1 heart, because you're gonna damage boost through the next section anyway. Okay, I didn't get it that time. No big deal. It's just more risky than anything. Now, what we used to do on this section was we would get to the top, roll off, and then we would jump up and grab the vines, and we would go across those. It's really tricky to do that, because when you do that, you have to jump so that you do not bonk into the wall, but you have to be able to jump and still be able to reach the vines. Goldfish came up with a better idea. Go once around, and then you can roll off continuously and make it across the gap entirely. You want to make sure that you're quick on that roll jump, though, because the Archie's fish might hit you. From here, you're doing just, you know, pogo, 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 and then from here, you're going to be doing a roll jump with more pogos. So roll, jump, pogo, 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 full pogo, nothing. Now on this last section, I screwed up the first time. This is pretty tricky. You want to do a light, very, very light pogo. So pull your cane out early, and then as soon as you know you've pogoed, let go. And then you're going to pull your cane out again early so that you can prioritize your cane's hitbox. So again, that one's pretty tricky to get, but if you can get through, you can do full pogos all the way to the end instead of having to worry about like landing right there. And then here you are going to take a damage boost, so you would lose Cranky here anyway. It's okay. And when you get to the top, this is my trick. I like to go once around and then the roll jump, and then you always make it right onto that barrel as soon as possible. I will try a couple times to show off my IL strat, and then I'll just straight up show off the IL. It is very tricky, but a long time ago I was looking to make it faster at the beginning of this stage, and I found a way. People were like, "Oh, there's no way you can make the stage faster," and I was like, "Well, what if you add roll speed?" Because adding roll speed was not a generally known concept at the time. Do-si-do was still in the workings at the time. And that's the risky time attack strat. And here it is. Roll speed. Ah, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit the stage, but basically, I'll show it off in the time attack. You are using roll speed to make Donkey Kong move so much faster through that section, you don't need to wait on any of the swinging platforms. It is very precise. I was lucky to even survive that. It's not really worth the risk in actual runs. And like I mentioned before, I used to have the top time on the stage for a very long time. But someone came in and took it, and then they actually contacted us asking about Tropical Freeze running. So Dan Snee, he came up to us, he was like, "Hey, I want to get into running this game." And I was like, "Oh, hey, wow, you really know your stuff if you beat my time on this stage." He did a really crazy trick on the second boost that's it's even more risky than the first boost, honestly, so don't worry about that. What you want to be going for is what I showed off the very first way when I started this video, and then if you want to go for this this really risky first boost, like I don't do it, Goldfish doesn't do it in runs, it's really too risky. Roll jump, grab Cranky, bouncing off the snowflake. Slap, roll, pogo, pogo, pogo. And then you pogo off of those things, and you never have to stop at all. And when I first found that, I was like, oh my god, I gotta get this in a run. But I wasn't even the first one to get that, unfortunately, and finish time attack. The night that I found that trick, I was telling Goldfish about it. Because the nice thing about the speedrunning community that I found is that we're not... I've found that with at least Tropical Freeze, we're not competitive in the sense that like we try to keep secrets from each other. We help one another to improve our times. So I came up with this. I was like, hey Goldfish, check this out. And Goldfish went to time attack, and both of us were going like back and forth trying to get this in. Eventually Goldfish got it first, and then I took it back later on. The rest of the stage is as usual, and then here's what you're gonna get when you manage to successfully get the damageless Cranky. Light, and then you don't take damage from him at all. Full pogos all the way to the end. Sorry Cranky, and then finally, once around, roll, jump, done. Now, a long time ago, I also made a guide for this stage as well, and I guess I have finally gone back and updated the guide. So I do hope that this guide helped you out, and next time on the 80% route we will be tackling Cliffside Slide, the remake of the cliff stages, the canyon stages, and it is also the only silhouette stage in the run, so visual treat for everyone who's going to be viewing that one. See you next time.